Medieval India. Northern India from the 8th century to 1200 AD. We have discussed the history of North India till the times of Harsha. After the end of Harsha's empire in northern India, two powerful kingdoms arose in its place. These kingdoms were the Palas in Bengal and the Pratihars in northern and western India. Rashtrakutas ruled the Deccan as the dominant power. There was a tripartite struggle between the Palas, Pratihars, and the Rashtrakutas for the control of Kannauj, which had replaced Patliputra as the symbol of power and prestige. We have discussed the Rashtrakutas already. Let us now come to the Palas and the Pratihars. The Pratihars. There were two branches of the Pratihars. The first was founded by Harchandra near modern Jodhpur in the middle of the 6th century AD. Another branch was at Malwa with its capital at Ujjain, and its earliest known king is Nagbhatta. The most important ruler of the Pratihars dynasty of Malwa was Bhoj, who ascended the throne in about 836 AD and assumed the titles of Mihir and Adivarha. Bhoja extended his kingdom boundary to the east and up to the Sindhu in the north. He was succeeded by Mahendrapal I around 893 AD, and in about 912 AD, Mahipal came to the throne. After Mahipal, the disintegration of the Pratihar kingdom began, and on its ruins many independent kingdoms arose, many of them of Rajput princes. The Palas. After Shashank, the chaos followed in Bengal almost for a century, but about in the middle of the 8th century, the Pala dynasty came into power. The founder of the Pala dynasty was Gopalan, who was a Buddhist. He was succeeded by Dharampal in 770 AD, who in turn was succeeded by Devpal, followed by Mahipal I. The Palas had been losing their power progressively under Dharampal and Devpal, but Mahipal I was able to restore the lost prestige of his empire to a great extent. However, by the middle of the 12th century, the Pala power had faded. The Palas were great patrons of Buddhism, and in their reign, the Tantric sect of Buddhism grew. Dharampal founded the University of Vikramsila. After the Palas, the Sena dynasty established an empire in Bengal. The greatest ruler of this dynasty was Vijayasena, under whom the whole of Bengal was united. The poet Umapatidhara lived at his court and composed the famous Devparak Prashasti. The kingdom began to disintegrate under Lakshman Sena's reign. The Muslim ruler Muhammad Bakhtiyar Khalji attacked its capital Nadia and occupied it. Soon the dynasty broke up and gave way to the Devas. The Rajputs. The origin of the Rajputs is a matter of controversy. According to Colonel Todd, they were foreign invaders like Huna, Sakas, and Kushans who adopted Hinduism and integrated into Hindu society. Rajputs themselves trace their origin to the sun or moon families mentioned in the Mahabharata. Some Rajputs profess themselves belonging to Agnikula. This theory was first put forward by Chandra Bardai in his book Prithviraj Raso. The poets of the 14th century mentioned Rajputs as a tribe comprising 36 clans. In the northern India, under the period we are discussing, some of these played an important role. The main among these were the Gadwalas, the Chauhans, the Chalukyas or the Anhilwaras, and the Chandelas. The Gadwalas. Chandradeva was the first ruler of this dynasty, who seized the throne of Ujjain sometime between 1080 to 85 AD. Govindacharya was another important ruler and Jayachandra was the last ruler. Sanyogita was Jayachandra's daughter. Marriage by elopement to Prithviraj Chauhan is famous, although its authenticity is controversial. The Chauhans. The Chauhans were earlier feudatories of the Pratihars, who declared themselves independent in the middle of the 10th century AD. Ajay-Raj, who founded the city of Ajmer, was one famous ruler, while the other famous ruler is Vigraharaja IV. The famous Prithviraj Chauhan began his reign in 1177 AD. He was also hostile towards the Gadwala king Jayachandra. In his first confrontation with Muhammad Ghori in 1191 AD, which is also called the First Battle of Terai, he defeated Muhammad Ghori. But in the Second Battle of Terai, Prithviraj was defeated and executed. The Chauhan kingdom declined after him. The Chalukyas or the Anhilvaras. The Chalukyas or Solankis were rulers of Gujarat for about 3 centuries. The earliest of the Chalukyas' ruler was Mularaja. The next important ruler was Bhima I, during whose reign Mahmud Ghazni overran Gujarat and plundered the temple of Somnath. The greatest ruler of this dynasty was Jayasimha Siddharaja, who after his victory over the Pasamarasam adopted the title of the Paramars. He was a great patron of learning and noted Jain scholar Hemchandra was at his court. The Chandelas. The Chandelas became rulers in South Bundelkhand early in the 9th century. Their capital was at Kharjurakha, which is modern Khajuraho. The dynasty became powerful under the rule of Dhanga in the mid-10th century. Dhanga was a patron of learning and fine arts and built many temples at Khajuraho. The rule of this dynasty continued till it was annexed by Alauddin Khalji. The Paramars. The Paramar dynasty was founded by Upendra or Krishnaraja. The Paramars ruled in Malwa from the early years of the 9th century with their capital at Dhara. One famous ruler of this dynasty was Munja, who is also known by the names of Amoghavarsha, Sri Vallabh, Utpal Raja. He defeated the powerful Chalukyan king Taipa II. But the most famous ruler is Bhoj, who should not be confused with the Bhoj of the Pala dynasty in Bengal. Although Bhoja's ambition to control the Deccan was extinguished on his defeat from Jayasimha II, still he succeeded in defeating King of Chedi. He is also said to have defeated the ruler of southern Gujarat and Bhima I of Gujarat. Bhoj was a great patron of art and literature. The authorship of 23 books is ascribed to him. He was a patron of art and literature and patronized scholars like Dhanapala and Vrita. The Muslim invasion. The Muslim invasion of India had started as early as 637 AD, when Arabs started sending expeditions to the western coasts of India. Although previous expeditions failed, but in 712 AD, Muhammad bin Qasim conquered Sindh. Sindh was under Arabs for 200 years. The Ghaznavids. The Principality of Ghazni was founded by Alpatigin in 962 AD. He was succeeded by his slave Subuktigin, who extended his empire beyond Indus by defeating the ruler of Shaya dynasty, Jaipal, twice. Subuktigin was succeeded by son Muhammad, a brilliant general and conqueror. He led as many as 17 expeditions into India during the years 1000 to 1026 AD. The expedition against the Somnath temple in Gujarat gave Muhammad a vast treasure. But Muhammad of Ghazni did not try to capture and hold territories in India. However, the conquests of Muhammad Ghazni opened India to attacks from northwest. This dynasty, to which Muhammad Ghazni belonged, was soon overthrown by Muhammad of Ghori. Muhammad Ghori. Muhammad Ghori, after setting up his government in Ghazni, directed his expeditions further towards India. He conquered Sindh and advanced towards Gujarat, where he was defeated by Mulla Raja, king of the Anilwaras. The next object of the Ghauris' attention was Lahore, where he defeated Khusro Malik. After this, Muhammad Ghori next turned his attention to the conquest of Hindu kingdoms. Hindu princes formed a confederacy against Ghori and placed the allied army under the command of Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj defeated Muhammad Ghori in the Battle of Terai in 1911 AD. But in 1912, Prithviraj was defeated. Prithviraj Chauhan was captured and executed. The Sultan returned to Ghazni and left the Indian campaigns in the hands of his trusted lieutenant Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin in 1193 AD captured Delhi, Meerut, Ranthambore and Koli and then advanced towards Banaras. In the meanwhile, Muhammad Ghori returned from Ghazni and defeated Raja Jaichand of Kannauj in the Battle of Chandwar. Gwalior fell in 1196 AD. By the time of Ghori's death, not only Upper India but Bihar and Bengal were also conquered. There were social, political and military reasons for the defeat of the Hindu kingdom. Politically, these kingdoms involved in continued fighting with each other, which mutually weakened them. The social setup also deteriorated with increasing discrimination between one caste and another. Militarily, the Turks had superior quality horses and employed armored horsemen and mounted archers. On the other hand, the small Hindu kingdom relied on horses. Their armies lacked coordination and failed to display a united strength. Cultural development during the period. During the period, regional languages developed. The beginning of Maithili, Oriya, Bengali and Assamese are traceable in Buddhist writings. Oriya and Bengali began appearing during this period. The origin of Hindi has been traced to this period by scholars. Chand Bardai's Prithviraj Raso is an important work of this period which marks the 11th century AD. Urdu too began to emerge. Muhammad Ghazni patronized poets such as Firdausi of Shahnama. Al-Biruni, who came with Ghori, wrote Kitab-ul-Hind depicting the Indian people's thoughts and customs. Sanskrit literature also flourished during this period. Some famous works of this period are Katha Sarita Sagar of Somdeva, Vikramadeva Charita of Bilhan, Raj Tarangini of Kalhan, and Jaydev's Gita Govinda. Art and architecture. The famous temples at Khajuraho were built by the Chandelas during this period in 10th and 11th centuries. The Jaina temple of Chalukyas of Gujarat, such as Vimala, Tejpala, and the Dilwara temples at Mount Abu, also belong to this period. The Khajuraho temples have beautiful sculptures both inside and outside. The sculpture of the Pala school has unique features such as fine finish. The figures were decorated and polished extremely well. In painting the important school of Bengal and its counterpart, the Apabhramsa school in Western India continued to flourish up to the 15th century. The Sultanate of Delhi. The Slave Dynasty. On the death of Muhammad Ghori, Qutbuddin Aibak severed his ties with Ghazni and independently founded a dynasty called the Slave Dynasty. Qutbuddin strengthened his position by political matrimonial alliances. He built two mosques, Quwwatul Islam at Delhi and Arai Din Ka Jhopra at Ajmer. He also began the construction of the Qutub Minar. He died in 1210 AD. Iltutmish was Qutbuddin Aibak's son-in-law and succeeded him. He defeated his rivals bravely and was honored with patent of investiture from Caliph of Baghdad in 1299. It was during his reign that Mongols threatened to attack India on the issue of Khwarezm ruler. But Iltutmish averted it by refusing to give the Khwarezm ruler shelter. Iltutmish completed the structure of the Qutub Minar. He was the first ruler to adopt as his monetary standard the tanka. Razia Sultan was nominated by Iltutmish as his successor, but she had to face great opposition from nobles who put her brother on the throne. But he was a worthless ruler, and Razia ultimately became the ruler. Razia revised the laws and reformed the government. However, the nobles were not reconciled to her being the ruler. She was murdered in 1240 AD near Kaithal. Ghiyasuddin Balban, or Ulugh Khan, succeeded the throne after 4 years of intrigue. Balban was a stern ruler, and his administration policy was ruthless. He showed extreme severity to the brigands of Mewat and the revolt of Bengal. His rule continued for 38 years till his death in 1284 AD. Balban was a liberal patron of Persian literature and showed special favor to his poet Amir Khusro. After the death of Balban, there was once more confusion as his grandson Kaikubad proved worthless. Ultimately, the nobles put a high-ranking official, Firoz Shah, on the throne. He became